Guardian Tales just released their newest character, Heroes Kai, and players are already excited to try him out. As a powerful melee attacker with a unique kit, Kai promises to shake up the current meta and bring new strategies to the game. So, let's take a closer look at what makes Kai so special and why you should be excited to add him to your team. In this video, I'll provide a full review of his hero's abilities and exclusive weapon. We will explore his item builds and offer tips on how to utilize this new character effectively. Let's go straight to his abilities. Kai is the second character in the game that has a party buff of normal attack damage plus 70%. He also has a weapon skill regen speed plus 2%, plus 5% shield increase on battle start, and a skill damage plus 6%. The question is, where exactly is this normal attack damage put to use? The normal attack damage buff will affect your default attack and defensive character skill. This will be a good synergy for characters that have faster high damage normal attacks and good offensive skills. This buff is excellent for any of the game content when utilized properly. His normal attack is called Justice Edge. Uses phantom-like sword techniques to inflict melee damage to enemies. Surprisingly, this normal attack is good for chasing running enemies thanks to its 2 forward charges pierces. But I cannot recommend it to 3 vs 3 and Colosseum because it is not a ranged attack and it doesn't have prioritized target mechanics for AI. His chain skill is called Justice Judgment. It is down to injured. Creates a hologram field in a nearby area to inflict 380% of DPS damage as melee damage. It is an area skill which means it targeted the ground. Don't delay this skill too much because enemies can run and dodge it. You can utilize this chain skill in any game mode. His special ability is called Dual Matrix. When hit by enemies, increase defense by 30% for 4 seconds. On Justice Edge's hit, increase attack by 30% for 4 seconds. It is a very straightforward special ability. It increases your defense when you got hit and it increases your attack when you hit the enemy. You can utilize this special ability in any game mode. Now let's see his exclusive weapon. His exclusive weapon is called Durendal and it's an epic one-handed sword. Durendal has a very high crit hit chance and weapon skill regen speed compared to other one-handed swords. You can utilize this weapon stats in any game mode. Its weapon ability is: on hit, increase movement speed by 20% for 3 seconds. On Justice Edge's hit with 50% chance, increase attack by 5% and increase crit hit multiplier by 10% for 6 seconds. This effect overlaps up to 3 times. The movement speed buff is particularly useful in arena battles as it enables players to chase down fleeing enemies. Moreover, Kai's increase attack and crit hit multiplier can be stacked up to 3 times, resulting in high DPS damage over time. You can utilize this weapon ability in any game mode. His weapon skill is called Justice Cyclone. It is level 5. It has 270% DPS and a cooldown time of 8.8 seconds. Creates a sword cyclone to inflict melee damage to enemies and puts them in a down state. This weapon skill is very easy to aim and quick to execute, making it useful in any of the game modes. Now let's analyze his overall kits. Based on our checklist, this is my recommendation. You can use Kai as a sub-DPS in story mode due to his party buff that synergizes well in clearing monsters in world maps. He has an insane number of buffs from additional DPS buffs to defensive buffs. It means while he can deal high DPS, he can also tank some damage from the enemies. Kai is a good arena hero, especially against dark-type heroes. His party buff is excellent synergy for dishing out a lot of DPS from normal attacks and character skills. His normal attack and weapon ability combination is a good combo for chasing down range and running enemies. He also has a special ability that gives him an additional plus 30% attack and defense increase. I cannot recommend Kai for 3 vs 3 arena because he is not a tank or ranged character. I also cannot recommend Kai for Colosseum. He doesn't have a priority target mechanics on his normal attack makes him vulnerable to the enemy's range DPS. Kai is an excellent guild raid and boss rush hero. He is the perfect synergy for the 3 existing light heroes in the game. He solidifies the mono light melee team bringing them back to mono meta. His weapon ability makes him deal high DPS over time because of its stackable damage and crit multiplier. Furthermore, his special ability gives him an insane plus 30% damage bonus. You can use Kai in Expedition, but not the best in slot due to his lack of AoE. However, his party buff is a good synergy for boosting team normal attacks, making it easier to wipe out waves of enemies. You can also use Kai co-op due to insane buffs. He can easily clear sets of waves of enemies due to his high DPS. He also cannot die easily because of his defensive buffs. You can use Kai in Kamazan against dark-type mobs. He can also provide good synergy for the team to easily clear every stage. Kai is like that friend who always shows up to the party with a bag full of goodies. He's got an insane amount of buffs, from extra damage to extra defense, making him the ultimate party guest. He can dish out high DPS while taking some hits like a champ. He is also like the missing piece to the puzzle, bringing back the monolight team from the game due to his perfect synergy with the existing light element heroes. Plus, Kai is just plain fun to play in arena, zipping around the arena like a caffeinated squirrel on a sugar high with his 20% additional movement speed. I hope this review helps in deciding whether to invest in him or not. Now let's go to the item builds. Let's start with the defensive build. You can use it on World Story, Arena, or any game mode that required survivability. For weapons, the best in slot is his exclusive weapon for its special ability, especially the movement speed on hit. It will be very beneficial in arena. For accessories, use any high toughness accessory that has good skill damage and skill regen speed options. For cards, you can use 2 defense cards. For merch, use Eugene bike figure and make sure to max its level for the HP and defense stats. For relic, use Guidance of Truth for its defense party buff. Choose defense, HP, and skill damage for its basic options, and you should enchant it with a crit hit multiplier for sub options. You can also enchant PvP damage if you plan to focus on PvP. Now let's go to DPS build. You can use it on Expedition, Boss Rush, Guild Raids, or any game mode that require DPS. For weapons, the best in slot is his exclusive weapon for its special ability, especially the additional attack and crit multiplier. This builds up high DPS over time and is excellent against boss monster fights. For accessories, if you will use him as a leader, use Minotaur's necklace with light type attack stats. If you will use him as a member, use accessories that have high crit hit chance and attack stats. For cards, if you will use him as a leader, equip him with 2 skill damage cards. If you will use him as a member, use 2 pieces of attack cards for additional damage. For merch, use Ample Statue of Bravery or Invader Mothership Replica, depending on the enemy HP. For relic, use Holy Vow for its attack party buff. Choose attack, crit, and skill damage for its basic options, and make sure to enchant for a crit hit multiplier sub options. You can also enchant it with damage to boss monster if you are planning to focus on raids and rush.
H.E.R.O.는 끝내겠다. 전력 전개. 모두를 위해 살아냐. H.E.R.O.는 끝내겠다. 선물이야.
That's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe and see you in the next video.